Whether you're religious or not, I've always found that while traveling, churches, and in particular the lesser-known ones you find in the many small towns and villages across Europe, are some of the most fascinating places to discover culture and experience history. So here are my 10 most amazing churches in Europe you've probably never heard of. Nestled in the foothills of Catalonia, Besalu is one of the most beautiful villages in Spain, and one of the things that makes it so amazing is the ancient Iglesia Sant Pere. Constructed in 977, it retains the look and feel of that era. Come on a weekday afternoon and you'll feel the quiet of 1,000 years. It's a vibe. What made this church so unique was the combination of the familiar and the very primitive that made me realize how close we actually are to our past.
The Iglesia de Sant Pere is unique to other churches that I've seen here in Spain in that they seem to have left it completely in its original condition. There's been a couple of modifications as far as the altar, but everything else seems like they haven't touched a thing since it was built 1,000 years ago.
In Athens' ancient Agora, in a quiet corner tucked away among the olive trees, you'll find the Church of Holy Apostles. It dates to the Byzantine era, the 10th century, and you'll lose yourself in time exploring this quiet church dedicated to the Apostle Paul. He spent time in the Agora, and it's an amazing feeling knowing that you're walking the same ground he did nearly 2,000 years ago. It's one of the best examples in existence of the Athenian style, and I particularly like the frescoes on the walls and ceilings. No trip to Rovinj, Croatia is complete without experiencing daybreak at St. Euphemia's Church. It dates to the late 1600s, and waking up early to get here before the crowds and hear the church bells greet the morning is one of my favorite travel experiences.
One of the things I really like to do when I'm staying in a little Mediterranean village like this is put myself into what you might call the traveler's time machine and make my way up to the top of the hill where the cathedral is overlooking the ocean. A lot of these towns have that, and it's not hard to slip yourself into the shoes of somebody that might have been here 300, 400, 500 years ago.
Saint Euphemia was cast to the lions during the reign of Constantine, but after killing her, it's said they refused to eat her, and that launched her on the road to sainthood. Legend has it that following a storm, her remains washed up here on the shore in this marble sarcophagus, which was pulled up to the church by a young boy and his baby cows and laid to rest. Miracle number 2. Time to go really off-grid to Spiliotissa on the Greek island of Zakynthos. The first thing you notice about this beautiful place is how remote it is. It took us a full half hour in the car to get up here. Spiliotissa Monastery is dedicated to the Holy Virgin of the Cave and dates to the 16th century. It's a convent now, and the nuns who live here welcomed us with cool water and sweets on a tray. The gorgeous views, scenery of the lush surrounding valley, and a profound quiet created an atmosphere that swept us up in a timeless dream. The only sounds were crickets and the summer breezes whispering through the olive trees. They opened up the church, allowing us to explore. It's a traditional minimalist Eastern Christian style whose walls breathe history.
The opportunity to come and observe a working monastery that's actually serving its purpose is a wonderful privilege. And once you get to the top of the mountain, Spiliotissa is waiting for you.
The Church of Sant Baldiri in Cadaqués, Spain. Originally constructed in 1702, it was dedicated to Saints Abdon and Sennen. According to historical documents, it was dedicated to these two saints when their relics were rescued from a shipwreck nearby and brought to Cadaqués for safety. It was later changed to St. Baldiri. It's a tiny church sitting on top of a hill, a 10-minute walk from the beach on the way to the Salvador Dali house. Cadaqués is a fishing village on the Costa Brava, and that's reflected in the decor of Sant Baldiri. In fact, its construction was funded by the fishermen themselves, with equal contributions of fish from each boat when they returned to the docks that would be sold to fund the project.
Fishing villages all over the world have chapels
that are dedicated to the patron saint of protecting the fishermen. Cadaqués is no different, and on the way to the Dolly House, there's this small chapel here. It's dedicated to that, and if the door's open, I suggest stopping in. It's actually a pretty cool and peaceful little spot to meditate.
The Spanish city of Girona is a medieval gem perfect for exploring history, and that's where you'll find the Catedral de Santa Maria. Although this site was once a Roman church, and even a mosque during the Islamic conquering of Iberia in the 700s, this church dates to the year 1064. It blends a variety of styles including Romanesque, Baroque, and Gothic. It's not tiny like some of the others on my list. In fact, at nearly 70 feet, it's the widest Gothic nave in the world. It's a breathtaking experience to look up and admire the artistic details in this church. Gazing up at the beautiful marble staircase of Santa Maria, I can't help but think of Jaime Lannister riding his horse up the front steps in Game of Thrones. That was epic. And now to the mountains above Split, Croatia, at the very top level of Fortress Klis, to St. Vitus. This is the most unique church on my list, and not just because of its size. It's tiny, but because the Ottomans converted the existing chapel to a mosque when they captured Klis in 1537, making St. Vitus one of the few remaining mosques in Croatia. After the Ottomans lost the fort a little over a century later, the Venetians converted it to the smallest church I've ever been in.
Oh, you know those Christians. They have to be the highest place in the castle.
Next, we sample a little bit of the Dolce Vita in Cinque Terre's Monterosso Mare and the Church of St. John the Baptist. Constructed between 1282 and 1307, this seaside medieval church was built in a classic Ligurian Gothic style with layered white marble and dark green serpentine stripes. I included this church because the unique design here is this festive style that resembles a dessert cake. It almost feels like what a church designed by Willy Wonka might look like. And now I'm getting hungry. Ireland's Dingle Peninsula offers some of the most stunning scenery imaginable. And that's where you'll find Kilmalkedar Church, a 12th century Romanesque construction with roots reaching back to the 7th century. This site is loaded with ancient and significant stone features, including this unique Ogham stone in the churchyard used for swearing an oath. This sundial, considered one of the best examples in all of Ireland, is more than 1,300 years old. You'll also find this 6th century stone inscribed with the Latin alphabet. Kilmalkedar is all about the historical and cultural vibes.
Whoever carved this stone did so back in the 12th century, almost 1,000 years ago. Sometimes you can just feel the power coming out of the walls of a place like this. Or maybe it's just that wind.
And finally, a little fun in church. And by fun, I mean pizza.
Literally, a pizza church.
That's right, in the town of Cahersiveen on Ireland's Ring of Kerry, Oratory Pizza has made its home inside a 19th century church. For those of us that seek answers and good pizza, a visit to the Oratory is a must.
It's an actual pizza church. Services are on.
It's a totally unique dining experience. I mean, the bathroom is in the confessional. How perfect is that?
A little bit of wine with the service, always necessary. I was an altar boy, you know. I know these things. The Church of Pizza, the Oratory. You gotta get right with the man upstairs.